Real quick, I am going to do something so that I can know that this video is worth a damn. Not what I wanted to do. Boom, boom, ba-doom, my channel. I am going to select that and kick it over to my second TV. Alright, so it sounds like my shit is working just fine. I'm gonna mute that, and we're gonna go through it. Alright, so for anyone that wants to get in on this, feel free. I know some people aren't unable to read these. I can think of specific people that cannot view these currently. So we're just gonna go through real quick. I actually already tried to record this, but my dumbass did not pay attention and notice that my PlayStation 4 controller was set as the default recording device. So, new areas, new fields. I have a theory that this could be part of the new deep dungeon. We'll have to wait and see. That's just shooting in the dark, though. We'll have to wait. We saw a few of these areas in the benchmark and in the release trailer, so the steeps and everything. We got new Aetheryte plazas for the underwater city and for Kugane. They put a Aetheryte mini next to the market board in Ul'dah, making it a lot more viable to actually use the market board in Ul'dah, so that's awesome. More new main scenario quests, obviously, and it'll tell you what the last quest you needed to get onward with it, and the requirements. A bunch of new side quests. Looks like new job quests, obviously, for all the different jobs. So feel free to look at these. Paladin level 60. Warrior, Dark Knight, Monk, Dragoon, Ninja, Bard, Machinist, Black Mage, and Summoner, and White Mage, Scholar, Astrologian. I apologize for Facebook playing in the back, but I am going to share something real quick with a friend of mine. Boom. And now. So, obviously, there's been a lot of changes to the battle system. We have 2 new classes, Samurai and Red Mage, and then a bunch of new class quests for crafters, hand and land. It also tells you level requirement, where it's going to be at, and the NPC giving it to you, and where you need to be either in the main scenario quest or your crafter quest in general to start these. So as long as you're caught up on everything, you should be able to get these new quests right off the bat. It does look like they are sending you back to the old cities, so that way you can, reuse some of the older content. They did mention in their last live letter that they intended to try and get some of the player base back into the main cities. So as long as, from what I'm seeing, it does look like that will be achievable. They've increased the EXP rewards and everything for A Realm Reborn and Heaven's Ward. EXP awarded for Moogle Beast Tribes has actually been capped at level 60 for 10,000 EXP. It'll say that later on. So you will not be able to get squat free EXP after level 60. New Tradecraft Fieldcraft Leaves been added to new areas. Playing as a level class over level 60 rewards for Tradecraft Leaves and fishing Fieldcraft Leaves below level 60 will be greatly reduced. So this is similar to what they did with A Realm Reborn to Heaven's Ward, where they capped the leaves at 3,000 EXP. I think they're capping it at 10,000 EXP this time. So if you're over the leave, it's not going to reward the same amount of EXP. Maple Stories has been adjusted for gathering points. EXP awarded for completing botanists and minor fieldcraft leads has been increased, so this may make leave leveling a lot more viable for gatherers. I know it was definitely a pain in the butt for a lot of people. Obviously, new fates. They've increased. They've added 2 EXP bonuses for fates. There's going to be one that's specific to the fate itself, and then for completing fates, you're going to get a buff. Whether you fail or complete is not significant, so you'll get a buff no matter what. And this will increase your EXP for the fate itself. So this makes fate leveling a lot more viable, especially if you have EXP boosting items. Um, Difficulty for Realm Reborn fates has been reduced. Same for some Heaven Ward ones, and it looks like they boosted time limits on a couple of fates and Heaven's Ward concerning corals. Treasure hunt for anyone that does maps. Gagana skin treasure maps and Gazelle skin treasure maps have been added. So obviously these are probably also going to be 2 new types of leathers available, considering the pattern for treasure maps in general usually follows a type of leather. Players will now be synced to level 60 when entering the Aquapolis, and some emote bullcrap. Alright, so Grand and free companies. Additional items will now be acceptable for supply and provisioning missions, as well as expert delivery missions. New craftable items for the company workshop have been added. This probably has a lot to do with them adding submarines. So expect a lot of that. The house looks kind of cool. I would say this is probably a small house, so cottage. When playing as a class at level 60 or higher, players will no longer receive EXP points when contributing materials designated as below level 60. So you're not going to get EXP for crafting something that's lower level than 60 if you are 60. The level of the following has been, when contributing company crafting, has been increased from 59 to 60. Some enchanted inks. Free company chest has been added to Rogger's Reach. I'm assuming this is the water area. And then Kugane, which is the new city itself. Samurai and Red Mage symbols have been added to the company crests. An explanation of the automatic transfer of the master ranks has been added to the OIC administrator at each Grand Company headquarters. So, housing. I know a lot of people are interested in this. Everybody wants to get a new house. Shirogane is the new residential district. Here's kind of a little bit of a top-down view for some of it, angled. You will have to do the same thing you do for current residential areas, and that will be a small little side quest where you have to unlock the shortcut that gets you there. Until you have done that, you may not be able to exit using the gates. I have actually encountered this in Ul'dah and in New Gridania before, so you will not be able to use the new gates, so you'll have to use teleport or return to get out. That doesn't mean you'll be prevented from coming in, obviously. So it's pertinent that you do that. It does require a certain main scenario quest to complete that, and level 61. Obviously an item increase for all the housing and everything. If there's a lot of interactive items, then you will only see the 40 closest furnishings that are interactive. 32-bit operating systems may have a little bit more difficulty with the system. Japanese-themed furnishings, obviously, and housing ideas will be added. So walls and floors like tatami mats and paper wall doors, as well as, Japanese-style pillow seats and tables, along with, all the furnishings included. Japanese-style bonsais, bench, and umbrella. We've kind of seen these in some areas before in the preview. It does look like they are making a mini orchestrion furnishing for tabletops. So now you will not have to get the giant one that takes up a good chunk of space in your your apartment or free company house room, whatever it may be. It gives it kind of more of a steampunk look and everything. It looks like a radio, actually. An easel has been added for displaying paintings. Some wallflowers have been added, and obviously a new striking dummy. The level 70 Jeer Albanian striking dummies have been added. New orchestrion rolls, new fishes for aquariums, and new aquarium backgrounds. Interiors have been added, new paintings. Plants will no longer wither. So if they are ready to harvest, they will no longer wither. They will wait until you pluck them. This is great for any of you that like to garden, and maybe you have to go away for a couple days for whatever reason. You will no longer have to worry about that being a problem where you waste money or time. Crafting facility furnishings are now from 50 to 60, so they will give you that little CP boost all the way to 60. New interface for furnishings. New items have been added to the inventory for housing merchants. I imagine this has something to do with vendors specifically inside your place, and then some more items available at the Curious Crop Exchange, and material supplier for residents. For any of you gamblers out there, MGP will now reward you some opportunities to get some new weapons. This shit kind of reminds me of Kingdom Hearts, honestly, so go to town on it. Triple Triad cards have been added. These are obviously main scenario quest ones that they're displaying specifically. The 2 new beast tribes, the new character included in the MSQ, the new bad guy, or current bad guy, whatever you want to say, and then Yida, obviously. So, new NPC opponents for Triple Triad have been added. Players can now engage in Triple Triad matches in new areas, and your sightseeing log no longer, or has been extended, and you do not have to have a bunch of old sightseeings to view them. Obviously, new achievements to go along with the new things. So, spear fishing has normal quality and high quality challenge log. Wondrous Tales has been raised from 60 to 70, so you'll have some new awards there and some new options. There's even a whole new column for stuff. Players can now view a weather forecast for new areas. This could be pertinent if you need a specific weather type, especially for you fishers that need like rain or lightning storms. You'll be able to swim in the new areas. As far from the phrasing of this, it does not look like you will be able to swim in a lot of the older areas. It does list 2.x, so you may be able to swim in some of the Realm Reborn areas, but not the Heavens Ward areas. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Obviously, Disciple of the Land, Teeming Waters will be available for spearfishing, and how that works will be explained in a minute here. Diving works exactly how flying works, so you're just flying through the water. Travel speed has been adjusted, so if you've completed main scenario quests in different areas, you will get an increase in travel mount speed for your first star, and then there's a side quest to unlock even faster speeds. Not every area has a even faster speed, so like Lavender Beds, I would imagine all residential districts do not have that second star because there's no quest line involved in that. Here are some of the quests involved for the main scenario quests for unlocking those. Obviously, if you've gotten to Heaven's Ward, you've unlocked all of it. So, at least Heaven's Ward and below. Flying mounts have been adjusted as follows: the height at which certain mounts float. Yeah, that's just basically some minor things with how they float in the air and when they actually hit the ground. A couple new hairstyles have been added. I'm actually kind of intrigued by this one. I may give it to my retainers a little bit. Some new emotes and appearance of certain hairstyles has been adjusted to appear more natural when diving. So your hair may flow with the water now. Physics, what can you say? There's a lot to do with the Samurai and Red Mage jobs, so both are available in Ul'dah. It does list the NPC you need, or the area that you need to go to do this. And there will be a job guide released sometime today with more details in regards to those. They are a job quest that you have to unlock, so just expect to have to do that for your quest line. Obviously, new actions they've gone over numerous times. Some other changes: Mug no longer increases items dropped by enemies in dungeons. Sword Oath will now end upon logging out. Substantial revisions have been made to battle system. New sprint animations for certain classes when weapons are drawn. So Paladin and Machinist are definitely getting new ones. I don't know if any others are. You no longer have to deal with attribute points, so the item that resets that is also going away. So if you have any of them, hopefully you'll be able to redeem them for seals or something. Dying and being rezzed now sucks worse in some ways because the detrimental effect is worse, but the duration is shorter. Obviously, they've gone over the attribute changes and everything. Starting attributes have been changed for all races. If something can be removed, it will now have a lit bar above the actual debilitating effect, so that way you know it can be removed. If not, it will not have that bar. 100% increase in EXP gain from the armory bonus now applies to all jobs below level 60. Level 60 onward, the armory bonus is 50% increase in EXP gain, so once you get a character to 70, all other classes will be 100% increase to 60. Link. And 50% increase in XP gained. New dungeons added. We saw this one a little bit already. I'm curious to see how this one and the other two are going to play out, especially considering this one looks like an open field. So they've also rolled your level 50 and 60 roulettes into one type of roulette. Also completing a level 51 to 59 and 61 to 69 dungeon, you will receive one piece of gear that is equipable by your current class or job. This also means that if you have that piece of gear, you will not get it again if it's in your inventory. Now, this can be useful for gearing up your retainers, especially if you're, trying to get them on the same level as you, because then you'll be able to actually give them gear that you already have. Say you're a level 70 summoner and you got gear from your 61 to 69 dungeons, and then you can give that to your retainer summoner, and then do it all over again for yourself. And so on and so forth. You just can't have the item in your inventory in order to get it. In accordance with the increased level cap, players can now gain EXP from level 60 dungeons and alliance and raid dungeons. Strength of the Echo has been increased for Creator Savage. New trials have been added, Susana O and the other. MP, HP, and TP will now be restored when fully entering an instance. Detrimental effects will now be removed when leaving any instance, and MP and TP will now be restored to full party after a party has been incapacitated during a trial or raid. That is trial or raid specific, if you notice. They are getting rid of scriptures and lores, and now just having poetics. Esoterics are completely deleted after this, but lores and scriptures you will be able to turn into poetics, and anything that gave scriptures and lores will now reward you with just poetics. So, for instance, POTD used to award you a little bit of each. Now it will just reward you poetics. Now, once you hit level 70, you'll also get Verity and Creation. There is no cap on any of these, aside from the 2,000 Tombstone cap. So There's no weekly limit as to what you can earn like there was with scriptures. The same thing's going to happen with crafting and gathering scripts. They are getting rid of blue. You'll be able to turn them into red, and red will now be the new blue, and then yellow will be the new red, with no weekly caps, and yellow are only obtainable for level 70 collectibles, so it will also display in a minute here the awards for your roulettes for tombstones now. So you'll actually be able to earn some tombstones at level 70, like Verity and all that. If you look here, Expert will give you Verity. 50-60 dungeons will give you Podex and Verity. Leveling Verity, Trials Verity, Main Scenario Poetics, Frontline Verity, and Mentor Verity. And yeah, as it says, your 50-60 dungeon roulette's been rolled into one. You've got new enemies to fight and new elite marks for your hunts. Players can now hunt regular and elite marks in new areas. There's going to be this new type of trial, the Circles of Answering for Stone, Sky, and Sea. What it gives you, it doesn't exactly say, so we'll be curious to see if that's like some sort of item reward system for being able to destroy striking dummies. So here's some of the stuff that I specifically care about. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the Palace of the Dead. So now they're implementing cross-world parties for Palace of the Dead. So if you thought the queues were short now, they're about to get instant between all the DPS on the whole data center. And all members must be in the South Shroud when you register for the dungeon. Strength of certain bosses have been adjusted. New items have been added for silver and gold trimmed sacks. We were using, I believe it's brass or bronze, and then iron sacks before. And then Sustaining Potion, a new item specific to Palace of the Dead, has been added that you get for using Gilmoran Pot Shard to purchase. If it works anything like Sustain works for Summoner to their summon, it will be a health restorative. Players can purchase Sustaining Potions from Iuna Kotor and South Shroud. It looks like you'll also be able to get some furnishings. Firecrest and Glass Pumpkin will be purchasable. Changing classes or jobs outside of sanctuaries will no longer incur a penalty to action cooldowns. This allows you to, if you run past a dead body and want to res them, you can actually, switch out real quick and then res them. I do not care about the PvP aspects of things, so I'm actually just going to roll through this. If you want to learn more about PvP, go talk to somebody else. Yeah, so I may have scrolled past something for the POTD thing. So, it does mention something about POTD where, if you do any role actions assigned prior to entering, from the description, it sounds like if you are leveling a class, you will not be, let's say, 51 to 60, and you start out as level 60. If you don't have the class abilities for level 60, you will not have them in Palace of the Dead. So while this might make some things a little bit more gimpy in that aspect, it will also promote people to actually do their class quests for skills every 2 levels or so. But yeah, that does kind of suck. Don't care about all that. There's a slew list of items that is not going to be displayed due to the volume of recipes and everything. Certain recipes have been simplified. I'm not sure what that means yet. We'll find out. New recipes have been added to previously existing master recipe books. I think this has specifically to do with Red Mage and Samurai items. So there will be more craftable items for those. Red Mage and Samurai have been added to the required job for certain gear, so obviously Caster will get Red Mage, and the Monk gear will get the Samurai. Grade 6 materia has been added. Attempts to affix Grade 6 materia will always result in a failure when used as the second or later materia in advanced materia melding. So you can only use it in the first slot, and it will fail guaranteed anything past that. So you can only have one per item. Materia can now be affixed to gears without carbonized matter. They got rid of all the other carbonized matter except for grade 1. So 2 to 5 is no longer a thing. How that works for getting rid of it on the market board, I'm not exactly sure if they awarded some money to the people that put it up or what. The cost of materia melder NPCs affixed materia has been reduced. Maximum craftsmanship control and CP values have been raised for certain materia affixed gear. So basically, if you're pentamelded, it may actually increase your overall stats once this patch is implemented. Item name changes. Following items will become tradable items and can no longer be bought or sold. I don't know what that is. What I forgot to mention about the carbonized matter thing is you will no longer be able to sell or purchase carbonized matter on the market. So keep that in mind. You will have to find your own way to get it, either through retainers or gathering it yourself, or however you want to go about that for grade 1. It's not going to be sold by an NPC either, so. Obviously, piety materia has been changed around a bit. Some emotes have been changed. Dark matter has been changed. They have a grade 7 dark matter now. Sound effects have been added to draw actions for certain weapons. Gear that may be exchanged for elegant tombstones can now be desynth or turned in for expert delivery missions. Desynthesis skill caps have been increased by about 70 per. So, following adjustments made to item desynthesis. Basically, they made it so that you have a better chance to desynth something, and then your rate of returns are increased for anything 3.57 below. Level 6, the caps have been raised. Here are the new crafter abilities for any of you crafters out there like me. Hasty Touch 2. Hopefully it will not fail every other time. Careful Synthesis 3. So that hopefully gives you a better return on progress. Rapid Synthesis 2. Patient Touch. Manipulation 2. We'll see how viable that is. I'm curious to see how Patient Touch and Prudent Touch pay off. Focus Synthesis will probably be a basic progression ability. Focus Touch will probably be an advanced touch ability. Initial Preparations may be a first move item where if you use this, it makes your overall thing better. They are incorporating new specialty actions, and then they're giving you some new traits overall. Quality Assurance and Stroke of Genius. So obviously one's going to probably pertain to your overall control gains, and then Stroke of Genius, I have no idea on that one. If you are a specialist, some things will be a little bit easier now. Baragot's Brow will now be 100% success rate versus I think it's 75% right now, or 70%. Efficiency for Baragot's Miracle, which is a specialist ability, has been increased from 10 to 15%, and cost reduced from 16 to 10. Trained Hand has been increased to 100% and reduced from 32 to 16, and Observe has been cut in half for CP cost to 7. I don't know anyone that actually uses Observe, so it's nice that they made it cheaper. When a recipe's level is higher than your crafter level, the difficulty of raising quality will increase. So to high quality will be harder, but the difficulty for raising progress will decrease. So to normal quality will be easier if it's above your crafter level. EXP can no longer be gained from Moogle crafting quests, and custom deliveries. Please note that EXP cannot be gained from crafter class quests recipes implemented in this patch. Here's the explanation for spearfishing. Basically, here's your initial quest, main scenario quest, somewhere along level 61, obviously to unlock, and then how to spearfish. You're gonna use Fathom or Shark Eye to identify locations of teeming waters. Target teeming waters. After targeting teeming waters, wait for bubbles to appear. When bubbles appear, sea creature will approach. You use your gig to spear it, and then successfully speared fish will be added to your inventory. I get the feeling this is not a durability thing, but a timing thing. So this may actually slowly whittle away as you attack it, basically. And then in the event you fail to spear anything, you may try again so long as the teeming waters have not been depleted. You can replace the head of your gig for different varieties of fish. And there's going to be like a shadow that can appear that will be like rare fishing kind of thing. Here are your new abilities for spearfishing. These are just spearfishing abilities. So, Fathom, Shark Eye, Gig Head, Veteran Trade, Calm Water, Shark Eye 2, Truth of the Ocean, Salvage, Bountiful Catch, and Nature's Bounty. Auto Fathom and Fish Whisperer will be your traits. Miners are getting additional abilities: Impulsive Appraisal 2, Unearth 3, Nalthal's Council, Bountiful Yield 2, and then your upgraded stealths. This is the one I think that's the most interesting, is the enhanced GP regeneration. So hopefully you won't be waiting 10 years just to, harvest something again or do more collectibles. Fisher is getting Mooch 2 and Double Hook. And then your typical stealths plus Gull-Eye 6, Salt Fishing, and Gull-Eye 7. As well as your enhanced GP regen. For all you gatherers out there, enjoy that. Bountiful Yield cost has been reduced from 200 to 100, and Bountiful Harvest has been reduced from 200 to 100. But Utmost Caution has been doubled. So it reduces 10 wear, but it costs 200 GP. So we'll have to see how that works out. That's definitely going to probably change a few people's rotations around, depending on how much GP we get from new gear. Item wear has been increased from 5 to 10. There's a new algorithm to calculate GP recovered when changing to a non-gathering class, so hopefully they'll be able to make it so that you are at full GP if you're not on your gatherer. Basically, your GP will still regen even if you were to switch to warrior, let's say. Also, you're going to... what was I going to say? I forget. Legendary and unspoiled locations will now last 2 hours versus 1 in Eora's a time. And they'll also appear twice as often now. So, specifically for legendary nodes. Whereas they only appeared once in Eora's a day, now they'll appear twice. Ephemeral gathering nodes for ethereal reduction are no longer hidden. This means you're not wasting a durability to just uncover the item, allowing for better rotations, hopefully. Collectability is a new stat displayed when you are crafting it. This is specific to crafting. Collectability for gathering I don't think actually changes overall. So this is specific to crafted. Basically all it is just less numbers. When you finish crafting an item, its collectability will now be displayed in the progress bar. Higher your perception, the higher the collectability of the item you gathered will be. Probability of obtaining collectible items when wear exceeds limit has been increased from 10 to 30%. In accordance with changes made above, blah, 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 blah. Players can change specialties up to 3 times a week. I don't know why that's even pertinent. They changed your interface for your crafting log. New gathering points have been added, obviously. New fishing holes. New tomes for regional folklore, ethereal reduction areas. Camera angle for shorties have been added or changed. They've added House of Splendor's collectible appraisers and script exchange are now available in Limsa, Gridania, and Ul'dah, so you won't be limited to Idleshire anymore, or maybe even Kugane, where that's going to be a thing. EXP that can be gained for over level 60 delivering collectible items under level 60 to a House of Splendors is now kept at 10,000, kind of what they did with Leaves for Heaven's Ward for A Realm Reborn Leaves. Here's the explanation for yellow scripts. They've adjusted some vendors' names to reflect a better description. Level 50 weapons, armor, and accessories have been added to Limsa, Gridania, and Ul'dah. Same with 60 items to Ishgard. And Calamity Salvagers. There's going to be an Ukami mount, Bear mount, Tanuki, Wondrous Tales minion, some new Asian style barding, Imperial style barding. Obviously, market board added to Kugane. They'll also display where your retainer's selling items to help you deal with the tax regulations. Maybe you can make more money that way and everything. Retainer ventures have been adjusted as follows. New achievements and tiles have been added. Extreme Primals have been added with 4.0. Now count towards achievements. Blah, 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 blah. New Adventurer Bullcrap. Online status away from keyboard now takes priority over camera mode. Also, keep in mind now, if you're inactive for more than 30 minutes in the game, it will now kick you to deal with server congestion for the first few weeks of release. So don't leave your shit alone for too long. Obviously, job gauge, shit, and TP changes as well as MP changes. Party Finder has been adjusted to reflect some new searching features. How your critical hits, direct hits, and critical direct hits will be displayed. We get A, B, C, D, 1, and 2 now, so we get 3 new marks. Your enmity bar will now also display actions taken by the enemy, so Water Sprite casting water. You are now limited in roll actions to 5, so you will actually have to decide which roll actions you want depending on the situation. So keep that in mind, especially you POTD players. The map will now look a lot different. It may actually be overall a lot easier to use because the Aetherites will be displayed depending on the areas. Personally, I think this will make travel a lot easier. Main scenario quests will be a lot easier to find with these new symbols. They even gave it a new color for an assist. Your armoire can now store a lot more stuff, it looks like. Players can now switch between viewing normal quality and high quality attributes on the item comparison window, which is awesome. As you can see, you can't adjust your attributes anymore, so that's no longer a thing. Disciple of Land, Disciple of Magic, all that crap has been separated into 2 separate tabs. You have additional 10 spaces per armory slot, so 25 to 35 now. 40 additional slots in your inventory. I think your retainers are even doubled from what they used to be. I'm not 100% on that, so don't quote me. I didn't read it anywhere in here, but I remember reading something about it. Grade 7 Dark Matter. Obviously, players can no longer press the meld button when success rate is 0%. I've never seen that, but I'm an Omni crafter, so that might have something to do with that. Enable dragging shortcuts. I'm curious to see about how that works. Progress bars, companion display name settings, always. Blah 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 blah. This is specific to Windows and Mac only. There's some PlayStation 4 settings that may be pertinent to you guys. know there's a lot of PlayStation Pro settings as well that you can toy with. They've doubled your macro limit, so instead of 100, it's now 200. Some new PvP slash commands I don't really care about. More auto translation shit. Obviously, new content that's going to be a thing. New music has been added. So here's the thing about 30 minutes. You will be automatically logged out. Once they've monitored and seen that it's no longer an issue, they may remove it. Obviously, new updated title screen. DirectX 11 support under config is now automatically set to on if you are able to. Samurai and Red Mage have been added to the solo rankings for the Palace of the Dead. Woot woot. Any achievements obtained while playing the game on PlayStation 4 will now be shown under your activities. Here's your new jump potions for each job and your main scenario quest jump potions. And that's it. So, hope you guys enjoyed and hope some of you get this information.